Hey y'all, Chef IrixGuy here, and within this video I want to talk about electric smoker and lessons that I've learned. What have I learned as the product of using electric smokers for many years? So we're going to break it all down within this video, and before I continue I want to remind everyone that you can expand this video's description and then click the link there to find the electric smokers like I use and all the accessories. So today, and my current smoker, and I'm smoking a Boston butt. If you were here, you could smell my butt. But this is my favorite electric smoker so far. And I'm going to kind of summarize my previous experiences with other electric smokers, and again encourage you to subscribe to my channel and check out all my video playlists, because I've got an extensive amount of videos for all of the previous electric smokers that I used. So prior to this one I used a Pit Boss. Good electric smoker, great results. It had a window, and we're going to get to that in a minute. Prior to the Pit Boss I used, and I think it's maybe discontinued now, but check out my video playlist. They may still be available. I've linked that smoker within those videos descriptions as well. But it was called a Brinkmann electric smoker. Very nice, kind of a cylindrical shaped smoker. So that was my first introduction to electric smokers. Now it was really neat. It was different. It did a great job, but it wasn't as good as this one. And we're going to explain why as we go through this. But so the Brinkmann, refilling the wood chips throughout your smoke was less than optimal. You also, in the Brinkmann, you had a heating element in the bottom and lava rocks you had to position in there. It was kind of, it was the earlier days of electric smokers. It did a good job, but it was inconvenient to use. The Pit Boss that I picked up after my Brinkmann electric smoker was a good unit. It had a window. Big mistake. You think, oh, I want a window so I can see what I'm smoking, or if it's done. No. Your opinion visually of what your meat's degree of doneness is means nothing, because what matters is the internal meat temperature. And also, if you've got a window, you're going to be tempted to want to open it and maybe spray it with some apple juice, which I used to do. That was a method I used to use. There's so many different techniques. That window is something I would never want again, because it just provides a visual of stuff you don't need to see while it's smoking. And also, if you don't clean it immediately after every smoke while it's still warm, that window is going to become dirty over time, covered with smoke, and not be functional anyway. But the Pit Boss was a good electric smoker. You know, I wish the fact that it had a window, that was kind of a selling point, but the Pit Boss had an analog gauge. This has a digital, and we're going to talk about that. I got the analog gauge on the Pit Boss because in my mind when I purchased it, I'm like, okay, that's probably one less thing to break. It worked well. The analog gauge worked well, but both it and this Masterbuilt have an integrated ambient temperature probe. Ambient being the temperature inside of the smoker. I've found that both the ambient probe in this Masterbuilt and also my Pit Boss, although they were somewhat accurate, they couldn't be trusted. Regardless of the electric smoker that you're using, that you choose to purchase, you need to get one of these. This right here, and I've linked it as well as this electric smoker. Expand this video's description and click the link there. This enables you to monitor your ambient temperature and with a probe. So this probe is actually on the same shelf that my butt's on. So I'm getting a very accurate ambient temperature reading, internal temperature reading. See, if I look at this dial right here, it says 233 degrees Fahrenheit. This says 264 internal. So there's obviously a discrepancy. Yeah, you're probably wondering, like, well, why is this guy cooking? Why is this guy smoking over 225? Well, normally I smoke at 225 Fahrenheit, but today I wanted to I'm trying to develop a little bit better bark. Now that flared up a little bit because I added more, well, it didn't flare up, but it warmed up a little bit because I added more hickory. You can compensate, you could reduce your smoker's temperature if you wanted to, but I'm just letting it go up above 250 a little bit for a few minutes. I don't think that's going to destroy my product that I'm working on. So I want to, today my goal, I'm challenging myself with developing a more barky butt, if that makes sense. Whereas the one I did at the ones I've done at 225 were amazing. But I want to get just more of a bark. I'm just messing around with barkiness. But yeah, regardless of the electric smoker that you're going to get, you need to get a wireless probe. That particular probe, and again, expand this video's description, click the link there, I've got it linked there. You can plug up to 4 probes to it. So you could have 1 ambient probe and 3 meat probes. You know, it's going in, measuring the internal temperature of the meat. If you're smoking multiple things on multiple levels, or even on the same level, it would be advantageous to have a meat thermometer in each type of meat, especially if you're doing various types of meats, because some meats, you know, the optimal doneness temperature may be 195 degrees Fahrenheit. Another type of meat, it may not be that. So being able to use up to 4 probes concurrently is super nice. Now right now I'm just using 2. I've got 1 plugged in that's functioning as the ambient probe, again on the same rack as my butt, so it's measuring that ambient temperature throughout my smoke. And then the second one is stuck in the middle of my butt, and it's stuck in the middle of my butt because it monitors the temperature. For this particular smoke, I want, in my mind, the perfect done temperature is going to be about 195 Fahrenheit to maybe 201, you know, right in that range. You know, maybe I go take a shower or drinking a beer or mixing up a drink or something like that, and I miss between the 195 and 201. I've got that range that as long as it's in that range, it's going to be a phenomenally smoked butt, in my opinion. So this thing, this Masterbuilt, this display on the top is really nice. You can set the temperature. It'll go up as high as I think 275, and then you can also set a timer. One thing to be aware of with this is that the timer, if you think your smoke's going to take, say, 8 hours, and you set it for 8 hours, when it hits 8 hours, it should cut off. But be aware of that if you're smoking something and it's actually taking longer than you'd anticipated. So if you set this for 8 hours and your smoke's actually going to take about 12, if you set that for 8, it would cut off at 8. So then you just have a smoker that's turned off. Rookie mistake, not a problem, just something to be aware of. But this thing, again, it has no window. The thing that makes it my favorite, not just because it's my most current electric smoker, but the thing that makes it my favorite electric smoker, number one, this is my number one, this right here. You take this out, you put wood chips in it, you can replenish your wood chips. You stick it in. Sorry, I'm in a bad spot here. Here we go. You stick it in, you twist, and it dumps additional wood chips in the tray. Now obviously I don't need to add more right now. You can see the smoke still coming out, but when that smoke starts to go down, I can pull that out. I can replenish my hickory, applewood, whatever I'm using, because I like a continuous smoke throughout my smoke. But the thing is, say you were smoking something overnight, and I've done it before, if you smoke it for a few hours that evening and replenish the wood chips, and then the next morning and replenish the wood chips in, you're probably still going to get a significant amount of smoky flavor. So you don't necessarily have to add more hickory as soon as the smoke starts to die down. But this smoker, that's my favorite selling point, is the fact that I can easily reload hickory. Now here's the other thing about it. This thing, it uses a minimal amount of hickory chips. And it's not the pellets. You know, pellets can get expensive, and you know, you get all that branding. They're trying to sell them for, you can use generic hickory chips, applewood chips, whatever. What I do, and I've linked this within this video's description too. You'll notice I link everything I talk about. That's just how I do it. But I keep my wood chips in here, and then also when it's not in use and after I've recharged it, I put my temperature probe and my clean temperature probes in here. That way I just grab this. I've got everything I need. I keep this outside on my deck while I smoke, so I can just, you know, as needed, get more hickory chips and replenish it. So being able to use a very small amount of chips, I mean, those chips go a long way in this. Being able to use a very small amount of chips, the cost of ownership is very low for this. You know, once you get the smoker, your only real cost is the electricity, which doesn't add up to much. I mean, you know, electricity cost varies among areas, but it doesn't add up to much. And then, of course, the meats you're smoking, that's expensive. At the time of filming this, meat's expensive. But if you do what I do and smoke something like a butt, butts aren't too super expensive. I think, and it's November of 2022, this is almost an 8-pound butt. And I think I spent, during November of 2022, which is expensive if you look back, you know, a few years ago. But I think I spent around $16 for this approximately 8-pound butt. Very affordable. You know, when you're talking about feeding a group of people, that's not that expensive. Not at all. But this is my favorite smoker. Now, if you get one, definitely get the cover. And I've linked the cover within this video's description, because when it's cool and it's not in use, you want to keep it covered, you know, just for the sake of the display. And then the unit itself, you don't want to leave it out in the elements. I store mine outside. Optimally, maybe you've got a basement, you could wheel it out when you're ready to use it. And there is a leg attachment option you can get for this with wheels. So if you wanted to be able to roll it, you could do that. I just went the minimalist route. I got the one without the legs. I got a cover I can cover it up with while it's not in use. It works great. This thing is smoked already. I forget how many meals I've smoked on. I mean, I've done, check out my videos, subscribe and check out my videos, but I've done butts, I've done ribs, I've done briskets, I've done kielbasa, pork chops. What am I missing? You can do so many things in this, but this is the electric smoker that I would recommend today being November of 2022. And again, expand this video's description, click the link there, you can find it and all the accessories. Also, subscribe to my channel and ring that bell to be notified whenever I post another video. And check out all my other electric smoker videos too. I've got Pit Boss electric smoker videos. I've got Brinkman electric smoker videos. Again, I owned and used those smokers for a long time. This just happens to be my latest and greatest. And not just because it's the latest and greatest, but it is my favorite. It's you know, the other thing I failed to mention, super easy to clean on the inside. And actually right now it comes with, let's see, 1, 2, is it 4 or 5 racks? I think it's 4 racks. I've only got 1 rack in there now because I'm only smoking 1 butt. But you can add multiple racks. But since I'm not doing more than just a butt, I kept the other racks out. That's just one less thing to clean. So when I clean this up after it cools down, all I got to do is remove the rack, and I can put that in the dishwasher. I don't know if it's recommended, but I do. And then the water pan, I put it in the dishwasher because, you know, it's collecting all the drippings from your butt. And then the little smoke tray that's inside of there, I pull that out from the inside when it's cool, dump out all the ashes once they're cool, and then put that back in there. Of course, I don't wash that. There is a drip pan inside at the very bottom. I put that in my dishwasher. I don't know if it's recommended, but I have. And then on the back of the unit, there's a drip pan that I usually just pull that out. If there's anything in it, I'll spray it out with a water hose and let it dry. And then I'll put, when I store this with the cover, with everything dry, I'll put that external drip pan on top, covered up with a cover, and then I've got a magnet that I stick on there, because when it gets windy, that magnet better prevents the cover from blowing away. Because there was one day the cover blew off because I didn't have the magnets down the mountain down there, man. I'm having to, you know, go through the wilderness and argue with. Heard a weird animal. I had to argue with raccoons, be like, man, where's my cover? And they're like, dude, it's over here. And I got my cover back miraculously. So, yeah, there's a bunch of raccoons. Check out my raccoon videos. Thanks for your viewership. Be sure to subscribe and ring that bell and check out all of Chef IrixGuy's cooking videos. Thanks for your viewership, and y'all have a good day. Hey y'all, IrixGuy here. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please be sure to subscribe to my channel, and when you do, ring that bell icon to be notified whenever I post another video. Thanks for your viewership, and y'all have a good day.